lecture we discuss about a linear operator. So let x and y be vector spaces. A linear operator T is an operator from x to y such that the domain of T is a vector space and the range of T lies in a vector space over the same field. For all x and y belongs to be a domain of a T, and scalars alpha and beta, we have T of alpha x plus beta y is equal to be alpha times Tx plus beta times Ty. So let x and y be the vector spaces and T is from x to x to y be a linear operator. Then the null space of a T is the collection of all those elements in the domain of a T such that T of Ax is equal to be 0. The domain of a T is a vector space and the range space of a T lies in a vector space. So note that obviously the domain of a T is a subset of Ax. So it is customary to write that T is from a domain of a T to range space of a T. Also, T of a 0 is equal to be T of a 0 plus 0, which is equal to be T of a 0 plus T of a 0, which implies that T of a 0 is equal to be 0. So we have a null space of a T is non-empty. So now we'll discuss some of the operators, like we have dot product. So let T is from a R cube to R defined by Tx is equal to be x dot A, which is equal to be xi1 alpha 1 plus xi2 alpha 2 plus xi3 alpha 3. So where A is equal to be the alpha I that belongs to be a R cube and x is equal to be xi1, xi2, xi3 belongs to be R cube is fixed. So how we can define a matrix in operator? So let A is a matrix of type n by m. You can define a operator T from Rm to Rn by Tx is equal to be Ax, where Ax is the matrix of a type n by m. So how we can define the differentiation operator? So let X be a space of a polynomials on the interval a to b. Then define T from x to x as a differentiation of xt. And the integral operator can be defined as let x is equal to be the set of all continuous real valued functions on the interval a to b. Then define T from x to x as a T of Ax is equal to b a to b x of s ds, where T lies between a to b, T is less than equal to b. So let T be a linear operator, then the range of a T is a vector space. If dimension of a T is equal to be n, which is finite, then the dimension of a range space of a T is less than equal to be n. And null space of a T is also a vector space. So first of all, we'll prove that the range space of a T is a vector space for the given T be a linear operator. So let T be a linear operator and suppose that the y1 and y2 belongs to be range space of a T and alpha and beta be the arbitrary scalars. Now since y1 y2 belongs to be range space of a T, so there exists x1 and x2 belongs to be a domain of a T such that T of x1 is equal to be y1 and T of x2 is equal to be y2. Now since the domain of a T is a vector space, alpha x1 plus beta x2 belongs to be domain space of a T. So T of alpha x1 plus beta x2 belongs to be a range space of a T. So by the linearity of a T, we have T of alpha x1 plus beta times x2 is equal to be alpha times T x1 plus beta times T x2. So which is equal to be alpha times y1 plus beta times y2. So we can say that alpha times the y1 plus beta times the y2 belongs to be a range space of a T. So hence the range space of a T is a vector space. Now second, we have to prove that if dimension of a T is equal to Bn, then dimension of the range space of a T is less than equal to Bn. So choose n plus 1 elements y1, y2, so on yn of the range space of a T such that the yi is equal to be txi for all I is equal to be 1 to n plus 1. For some x1, x2, so on, xn plus 1 belongs to be domain space of a T. Now since the dimension of the domain space of a T is equal to be n, and we have these are the n plus 1 elements, so these are the linearly dependent set. Hence alpha 1 x1 plus so on alpha n plus 1 xn plus 1 is equal to be 0 for some scalars alpha 1 alpha 2 so on alpha n plus 1 non-zero. Not all the elements are 0 here, all these scalars. Now since t is a linear and t of a 0 is equal to be 0, we get t of this part, the left hand side alpha 1 x1 plus so on alpha n plus 1 xn plus 1 is equal to be alpha 1 y1 plus so on alpha n plus 1 yn plus 1, which is equal to be t of a 0 is equal to be 0. This shows that the set y1 y2 so on yn plus 1 is a linearly dependent set because all the alphas are not all 0. So hence the dimension of a range space of a T is less than equal to b. On the third part, we have to prove that the null space of a T is a vector space. So take x1 and x2 belongs to be null space of a T. Then T of x1 is equal to be 0 and T of x2 is equal to be 0 by the definition of a null space of a T. Now since T is a linear, for any scalars alpha and beta, we have T of alpha x1 plus beta x2 is equal to be alpha times tx1 plus beta times tx2, which is equal to be 0 plus 0, which is equal to be 0. Now this shows that alpha x1 plus beta x2 belongs to be a null space of a T. Hence null space of a T is a vector space. So a mapping T from a domain space of a T into Y is injective if for all x1 and x2 belongs to be domain space of a T such that x1 is not equal to be x2 implies tx1 is not equal to be tx2. Or equivalently you can say that tx1 is equal to be x2, return implies that x1 is equal to be x2. So there exists a mapping T inverse from the range space of a T to the domain space of a T defined as the y0 to the maps to x0, that is the y0 is equal to be T of x0, which maps every y0 in the range space of a T onto the x0 which belongs to be domain space of a T. So for which T of x0 is equal to be y0. So the mapping T inverse is called the inverse of it. Therefore we have a T inverse into T is equal to be x for all x belongs to be domain of a T, and T into T inverse of a y is equal to be y for all y belongs to be a range space of a T. Now we define the inverse operator. So let x and y be a vector spaces, both real or complex, and T be a linear operator from a domain of a T to y, with the domain of a T is a subset of ax and the range of a T is a subset of a y. Then the inverse T inverse from the range space of a T into the domain space of a T exists if and only if T of x is equal to be 0 implies x is equal to be 0. Second part, if T inverse exists, it is a linear operator. And third, if dimension of a T is equal to be n and T inverse exists, then dimension of a range space of a T is equal to be dimension of a domain space of a T. Suppose that, now first of all we prove the first part, the inverse of T exists if and only if T of x is equal to be 0 implies x is equal to be 0. Suppose that T of x is equal to be 0 implies x is equal to be 0. So let tx1 is equal to be tx2. Now since T is a linear, so this part move to the left hand side, this becomes a T of x1 minus x2 is equal to be T of x1 minus tx2, which is equal to be 0. So that x1 minus x2 is equal to be 0 or x1 is equal to be x2. So T is injective and T inverse exists. So conversely, if T inverse exists, then tx1 is equal to be tx2 implies x1 is equal to be x2. So by taking x2 is equal to be 0, we have tx1 is equal to be T of a 0, which is equal to be 0. Hence we have x1 is equal to be 0. So we get the first result. Now the second, if T inverse exists, then it is also a linear operator. Assume that T inverse exists. Now the domain of a T inverse is the range space of a T, which is a vector space. We already proved it. So consider x1 and x2 belongs to be domain space of a T, where y1 is equal to be tx1 and y2 is equal to be tx2. Then x1 is equal to be t inverse of a y1 and x2 is equal to be t inverse of a y2. Now since t is a linear, so that for any scalars alpha and beta, we have alpha times the y1 plus beta times the y2 is equal to be alpha times tx1 plus beta times the tx2, which is equal to be t of, because t is a linear, we have a t of a alpha x1 plus beta of x2. Therefore, t inverse of a alpha y1 plus beta y2 is equal to be alpha x1 plus beta x2, which is equal to be alpha times t inverse y1 plus beta times t inverse y2, because x1 is the t inverse of a y1 and x2 is the t inverse of a y2. So hence we get the result. So t inverse is a linear. So we already proved up that the dimension of a range space of a T is less than equal to be a dimension of a domain space of a T, and the dimension of a domain space of a T is less than equal to be range space of a T. So by the same theorem we can apply it to a T inverse and we get this part. So thank you. These are some of the references that you can be followed up.